Welcome to History 1302. This is U.S. history, and I am Mrs. Elkins. Most of the videos will not have this little video camera in the corner of me, but I wanted to, on my welcome, make sure that you guys at least got to meet me once. So, about me, I wanted to give you some heads up about different things about me. I do have a son pictured here. Yes, he likes to scrunch up his nose like that, and it cracks me up. He is just over a year old. Oh gosh, it's kind of crazy to think about. Anyway, and so it's one of those things that anytime I'm paying attention to my computer, he automatically thinks that it must be something that he wants to play with. And so I wanted to give you guys a heads up because I think he might make a cameo in a recording or so. So just something to be aware. I also have a cat, also pictured there. She has big old anime eyes, but she's teeny tiny but has a huge personality. She is less likely to make a cameo in recordings because she's pretty good about being quiet, but every once in a while she does like to yell at me. So figured I'd give you a heads up just in case. You guys are taking my 1302 U.S. history class. This is looking at U.S. history. Technically it's post-Reconstruction, but I include a little bit on Reconstruction all the way through modern day America. But a lot of times people take actually 1302 first and they haven't taken 1301, so I always want to just kind of put that out there. I am teaching 1301 in the fall, so if you're looking to take that and you like the layout of this class, then just know that that class would be very, very similar. So it's just something to keep in mind. Also, I'm a giant nerd. I try not to make too many nerdy references in my lectures, and don't worry, I'm not going to test you anything over Star Trek, Star Wars, things like that, but I figure I put it out there. I am a nerd. I am also very sarcastic. I try to make it really clear in my PowerPoints when I am being sarcastic, but if you have any questions or concerns about that, please don't hesitate to reach out. Some quick things though I also wanted to do in this video, just basically kind of getting this class started. Before you get into the syllabus and all of the actual lessons, I wanted to talk about what does it mean to be a historian. So I have 4 big bullet points here, and I want you to keep these things in mind basically just throughout the entire class. So the first one is facts and dates. I would love to say you don't need to know dates for this class, but it is a history class, so you need to know dates and you need to know the facts of what was going on these dates. However, as much as I would love you to know July 4th, 1776, which I hope we all know anyway, but as much as that's an important date, if you told me it happened in the late 1700s, that is absolutely fine. I don't expect more specific than early, mid, and late. And I go ahead and I'm going to define mid for you. It would be like mid 1700s would be 1740 through 1760. I'm putting that really, really clear because if you Google search like mid 1700s, it gets really complicated where, and yeah. So yes, you've got to know facts and dates, but please don't stress about like really, 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 really specifics as we cover a whole lot of ground in this class. The second and the third bullet points here really are going to go hand in hand. No judgment and understanding the time period. We have our own modern sensibilities. We have our own ideas about society and politics and so many other things. Obviously, when we're looking back in history, people in the past are not going to share those same views as us. And so I really ask, as a historian, we have to be impartial. We have to be kind of like an outsider looking in and understanding that time period and understanding it's not our own. So when I say no judgment, that means things like don't say, I think that, what can you prove? Don't say, I think ever, unless I specifically ask, oh, what's your opinion on something? And then in that case, go nuts. But like understand that these time periods are not going to have the same values as we do today. And so we don't want to judge them. We want to look at them and look at their perspective of the world during that time, basically. Last but not least, question everything. So this is twofold. The first thing about this is I am human. I make mistakes. I am going to own up to that right now. At some point in this class, I will make a mistake on something. It happens. question everything. If I put in 10 points out of 20 points on a grade and said you got it perfect, come back and ask me, why didn't I get the full 20 points then? Be looking at that kind of thing. I really try to double check that as much as possible, but question everything. So that's like looking at the grade, but then also question everything history. The thing about history is we're constantly learning new things about the past. And just as we get new evidence, sometimes we discover new documents, all kinds of stuff. And so what I teach you in this class, there is a chance that in 20 years from now, they will discover something else that refutes something that I say. A great example of this is when I was actually in my first half of U.S. history, one of my actual professor talked to us about that, oh, these people came to America first, and it was really fascinating. I was so interested. And then I looked into it later, and it was like, actually, the evidence of that is kind of flimsy, and we're not really sure. And it was one of those things that don't just take my word as law. Question everything. If I say something and you're like, that doesn't quite sound right, go look it up in your book. Now, granted, if you're comparing like what I'm saying to like that random thing that somebody shared on Facebook, go with what I'm saying. And especially on like a test or a quiz or something like that, go with what I'm kind of saying. But if you see something that is factually incorrect that I say, like, please question me on it. Sometimes there's just a clarity issue and I can make a mistake. Also, just keep questioning things. If you have a question about any of the lessons, like, email me. I love to hear from students. I actually get very excited for student emails. I get really excited when you communicate with me because it shows me just how excited you are to learn, or you're interested in the topics and things like that, and that gets me excited in turn. So please question everything in this class. Keep on learning. Plus, there's just so many things we have yet to figure out. One of the best things that I always like to use an example here as well is that one time one of my students asked me, when I talk about JFK, I talk about that he has really terrible back pain. And one of my students asked me, why did he have terrible back pain? And I went, oh, I don't know. And so I had to go look it up, and it was really fascinating. It turns out nobody knows. It's really complicated. Most likely it's from like childhood diseases he faced, but also didn't help that then he went on to serve in the Navy, and he was constantly lifting torpedoes and stuff like that, and he was using his back, so that probably didn't help. Plus at one point his ship like crashed, and he like swam to shore dragging 3 other people along with him, saving them, but that probably really made his back pain worse. Oh, and plus earlier than that, when he was in college, he played football, which probably exacerbated the problem. So there's a lot of reasons, and it's actually one of those medical cases that a lot like medical students will get out once every 5-10 years and try to figure out why he had such terrible back pain. And so that's why I want you to question everything, because we're constantly learning new things, and it's exciting to be thinking about that. And I'm excited that if I don't know the answer to it, I get to learn something with you. So that is all for all of this. Hopefully you are excited for class, and hopefully if you're not excited for class, you change your mind by the end of it all. But thank you guys so much. It's nice to meet you all.